days apart.
2 days apart.
2 days.
Yeah, but you tell your nickname.
Yeah. And you look the same.
Lola.
Oh, yeah.
And that's from your country as well. Does it look like you? English. She's English. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like you.
Where in?
Same father.
Same father, same mother. She said, where in England?
I'm in London.
London. I'm like you.
Yeah, I don't like London. I can't live in London.
It's too busy.
It's too busy, too crowded, too
The people don't speak to each other. It's just
yeah, and too rushing everywhere.
everywhere.
They're always in a hurry.
If you come to Finland, they'll be surprised. People don't discuss with each other.
People don't talk in Finland too.
But it will not be long.
But what I saw in Finland that really surprised me is that I saw people drinking and lying on the street
Yeah, people are drinking.
in Helsinki.
I think we are going to have this seminar.
You want to go to hear how to do it?
Yes, there is a seminar about it.
Okay, yeah, there is for rehab center, how to start and how to.
We are going to attend that one.
Yeah. Well. These books here. It's just
Treasure.
you people don't know what these things are. I don't care which one of my books you've read. I don't care which one of my books you read, especially this one. You will feel you are losing your mind when you begin to read these books. In fact, you will think that you have never even read any book in your life before. Mind blowing. It's another level right now. The kind of books I'm writing, another level.
We need these guys to bring them those books right here, so that we can be able to have it.
To bring them where?
To bring them around so we can buy them.
To this place?
Yes.
Okay. How many? Who wants what?
The package, the whole package for
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Uncle Sam.
Okay.
I need 10,000 copies.
Ooh, wow, that's a lot. I was
Financial solution.
Complete set.
complete set.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Okay.
But I've settled with one.
There are 4 of
insult.
them, so complete set.
Yes.
I want to.
Okay. You want to?
I've read it,
Okay.
but I want it to be
Yeah, because you can become a deliverer just by, but don't just give to people. Make them vow to you to read them.
Yeah.
Because when they read them, they now will be chasing after you. I bet you.
Pastor, I found a quick system to make that happen.
Okay.
I give people books, and I tell them, as soon as you give it back to me, if you give it back to me within a week, you get all your money back. And they really read it.
Okay.
And then they want it back to give it.
Ani хотят книги покупать. Надо писать, чтобы знать, сколько эти возьмешь, чтобы можно потом. Они сюда, чтобы сюда привезти, купить, а они деньги потом привезти. So who wants how many? There are 4 of them.
how much?
Insult, please.
But insult. If you don't take insult, if you are not ready to run,
Can you pay with Visa?
this will make you run.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You can find it from
Yeah, because then I can take as many as I want. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to, if you don't want to run, because when you read this, you want to lose your mind and run and do something. You want to run and begin to do something quick. This one. So who wants what? Rory got some already. Only this one doesn't have. So he wants one of these.
How much is it, David?
I don't know how much.
$15.
What are the prices on the books here?
I don't know.
I don't know too.
$15.
Around
Check.
$15.
Yeah, around
15. I think maybe $20.
No, she said 15. I just bought it downstairs.
Okay.
Okay.
the 4.
Can you use American money?
Yes.
Yeah.
American money. Yeah.
I would use my card if it's okay as well.
Okay. So then how many, Pastor?
Just
Rory?
bring them back. Just
Yeah.
bring them, then you pay them later.
Yeah.
So how many? Who wants what?
I need the set.
You want the all 4?
Yeah.
John Claude wants 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I need a case of the Uncle Sam ones.
And then
But
Case?
I'll make arrangements.
Well, you
with
got
you
it.
later.
A case, okay.
The mountain.
No, just the 4. There are only 4 of them. You don't need to write.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he wants the 4 of them.
This one is
just
bring
yeah.
some boxes.
and I need
Could
2
you
of
bring?
them.
okay,
Yeah,
you can
bring
just
some
okay,
boxes.
bring
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah, boxes.
Yeah, okay, later on, don't write
And then-
anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just bring, maybe 10.
10. Each
Of
book.
these, yeah, and then we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And please, can you get a dollar amount?
And then if they have the how to buy visa,
Visa.
they could bring it here
Yes,
or
the
later
visa.
on. Maybe.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
What about the regaining your lost years?
I want that.
Yeah,
getting
no,
lost
there-
here,
no,
so-
ask Igor. Everybody's asking for how to regain.
I need 3 of those.
Yeah, could I definitely get one?
Another should go to Seychelles.
Because I've got all those.
I
I've
need
got
a
all
new
those, but
suitcase with it to carry them all.
so yeah, regain your lost years.
He's a kind guy. He's a kind man.
You need to back up a
Come
little
this
bit. No,
way.
you're good. If you go back a
Just
little
come
bit
this way.
on that
Come on,
side,
this way, yeah.
it's
That
going to
is
look
a
better.
destiny photo right there.
And now come closer to Festus. Yeah.
Bold.
This is the guy in Bulgaria.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, that's the guy for
Can you say Jesus?
Jesus.
Oh, that's beautiful. One more. Okay.
Please look here.
See what you
for
think.
one. Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Shouts. His name is Shouts from London.
The prince of
Prince Shouts.
the prophet.
Okay, let me talk about Uncle Sam first. No, okay, we have to the people who come back and do a review of Uncle Sam.
Hello guys, how are you? Thank you for joining. I know I only switched on in a few minutes, but it started a lot earlier, so I'll post that later.
You only have a few minutes?
No, I only just came
How many
on
minutes?
about 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
We started
then let's
before.
continue. Don't put it up then.
Okay.
You just have to rename it.
Yes.
Uncle Sam.
So now we're going to have a book review, a feature book.
It's
Stop
not a
work.
yeah, okay.
Well, it's not featured anymore because it's already been published. So it's Stop Working for Uncle Sam. You all know about this book. So Dr. Sandey will be talking about it shortly. Join us and invite more people. So today, guys, how are you? I'm okay. I hope you're all right. Hello, Deborah. Hello, Joe. How are you doing today? Elizabeth Ali, thank you for sharing. Guys, Elizabeth just shared. Can you all share, please? Emmy, how are you? Davida, thank you for joining. Love the suit, Bishop Sandey. Good morning.
Loves the
Davida
suit?
just called
Somebody
you Bishop.
loves the suit?
Yes.
I look like a
And
bishop
she
in this suit,
noticed
right? I am not a bishop. I'm not a bishop. Leave the bishop out of it. My suit might look bishopry, but I am not. Because they know you are not a bishop.
The
But when they
bishop's a
saw,
stepdad.
but when
Fourth step.
they started adding bishop to it. Hello, Kotab.
Hello, Yemi. How are you doing? Olukayode, thank you for joining. Curtis, thank you for joining and thank you for sharing. Rosalind, how are you? Good afternoon. Deborah Cole.
Please get something to
Good
drink for
afternoon.
yourself if you're okay.
Oluwatoyin, how are you? Thank you for joining. Guys, please start inviting more people now. We're going to have a book review. Stop Working for Uncle Sam. I'm looking forward to this review. I've heard so much about it already. I purchased the book already, but I haven't read it yet. So if you're like me, you need to hear this. So invite other people and let's hear what Stop Working for Uncle Sam is all about.
Okay. Stop Working for Uncle Sam. I want to do a presentation of this book. First of all, I want to commend the designer that designed the cover for this book. I don't know of you, but I think he got it perfectly well. Got it perfectly well. You know, because that's the Uncle Sam. But I actually thought that this book is only for Americans. because not just for Americans, but I thought people from other continents might not understand it very well. I know England will and Western Europe will because I was in France and the Uncle Sam there is very bad. I didn't like it. I was in England. It's very bad. I didn't like it. But it was when I got to America, which is where many people are dreaming of going to, that I really got flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it. Because before I went to America, I had lived in Russia for 20 years. I had lived in Russia for 20 years before I went to America. So I knew that I knew that communism was evil. So I knew that communism was evil. And, communism, everybody knows how bad communism is. But the way it's been presented as if capitalism and American system is the opposite of communism. That's the way it's been presented all over the world. That communism is bad and capitalism is good. In fact, even now, I even heard some Americans saying that Canada is socialism and communism, and Sweden is socialism and communism, and that they are evil, that they are bad is socialism. But when I went to America, what I discovered is that, sorry to say, not to offend any American, but this is just the truth. That's why I wrote this book. I discovered that there is no difference between the communism that I lived in for 20 years and what I saw in America. It's the same thing. But the only thing that I saw was different is that as bad, that as bad as communism was, there was an advantage in communism. And the advantage is that they know that they are being held down by a system and a political party. But what makes what I saw in America worse than communism is the fact that people are not even aware they are slaves.
Yeah.
What I saw in America is the same communism. In communism, it's a slavery. It's like a prison for everybody. But there is a party that's holding you down, and you know the name of the party. And they hold you down, they oppress you. But when you go to America, you don't see a particular one single party doing that. But the system is built in such a way that you yourself go sell yourself out into slavery.
I don't know it.
And don't even know it. You think that's the way life is supposed to be. Because that's what everybody does. You go to school to sell yourself into slavery. You finish from school, you graduate so that you sell yourself free of charge, freely, willingly into captivity. And that slavery is called Uncle Sam system. Not just when you are working for, people think, I'm not working for Uncle Sam, I have my own business. But it's still Uncle Sam. Because people in America think you work for Uncle Sam when you are in the military or for the federal government. No. Uncle Sam is really when your whole life is about making a living. Working for money so that you are not thrown out. Uncle Sam is anything that pushes you to survive, because if you don't work and you don't make money to pay bills, that drive to pay bills and to make it, that is Uncle Sam right there. Because if you stop running and working and being sold out to the system, you will be thrown out of you will not have a place to live the next day, the next month.
That's millions of people.
That's millions of people. Millions of people, almost 90% of the country. You cannot, people in America, can you believe it that an American citizen cannot easily say, I don't want to go to work for a year, or I want to go and serve God. But if you are in Nigeria, for example, you can say, I don't want to work, I'm not going to work for 10 years, and you're still going to serve God.
That's true.
Because the Uncle Sam system has not taken getting hold of the country totally like that. But in America, if you don't work, you are dead. Even your relatives will not be able to support you. The Uncle Sam system has become a culture, but it's well, what do you call it? Huh? Disguised. It's well disguised as American dream. But how many people get to be rich? In America, only 1% of the population, one, has made $1 million US and above. One. When I discovered that, I was so shocked. In fact, less than one. There are only 1 million people in America that have $1 million and above. Only 1 million. And the country is 300 million people. Is that 1%? That's much less. 0.03. And that is a country where there are trillions. Their budget is in the trillions. So it's not that there is no money. Too much money. But I don't know how that could even make sense. How could you have a country that has trillions of dollars at their budget, then you only have 1 million that has less than 1% even that has made 1 million? Then what happens to the rest? What happened? But then it's not that people are lazy. What I discovered is that they work in America more than any other country I've been to. Do you know that in America, if you are pregnant, you cannot go for maternity leave more than for 1 month. Be absent out of work so that you are paid. But do you know in most European countries, you could be out of work for 1 year and you are still being paid. So in some countries for 3 years and you are still being because you got pregnant. How long? 3 years. 3 years maternity leave. Americans don't even believe that exists.
But that's the best in the world, though. Phoenix.
It's the best in the world, yeah. But mainly 1 year in most countries.
And in America, the millionaires, my father's millionaire, are still slaves because they only take 2 weeks free a year.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. 2 weeks free a year, the millionaire.
So the system is what we're talking about here. Knicky, уже привезли? Да, можно.
This is the real food coming.
Не, положите все вместе туда, да. Another thing is, that is for maternity I spoke about, right? But for vacation, do you know that the average in most countries, vacation in a year is 2 months? But if you tell Americans that, they will be shocked. They cannot even believe it.
Right.
That you have vacation for 2 months, they don't even have 1 month vacation.
That's the truth.
Mainly 3 weeks. If you have maybe 2, you even say 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I was weeping when I got there. The richest country in the land. Do you know that America is the only country in the world where the country is regarded as a developed country or first world country? The only country in the world where the citizens don't have free health care. So if you are sick or you need operation, you have to pay from your nose. A friend of ours, he just told me he had to have surgery.
He had to have emergency surgery on his heart. It was a triple bypass or whatever. The bill came to $500,000. He'd never be able to pay it.
For the rest of his life. He has to pay $500,000 just because he got sick. So if you live in his insurance was not good enough. And this was a high top lawyer. But everything he made in his life, that sickness wiped it off.
Can you imagine?
It doesn't matter what job you have. It doesn't matter what insurance you have to be able to pay that. Even poor country like Ukraine, you don't pay for it. The government takes care of it. Despite the war, despite everything, despite the collapse. So it's like the country. There is something they call the pharmaceutical system in America. It's like the country is not for human beings. It's not for people. People there are like just instrument tools. Just like you have a car, or just like you have machine in working. That is the way people are treated.
A cog.
Yeah, a cog in the system. But not treated like with emotions, like with human beings. People are nice. I've never seen better human beings than I've seen in America. I've seen some of the best people in the world are Americans for me. But the system is killing them. They just accepted it. They don't even know it's better anywhere. So, and then somebody is telling, I heard the news, someone is telling a story that Canada is socialist, is horrible. Sweden is socialist, is horrible. They don't even know how horrible where they are living in is. Then, let me tell you another story. There are so many things everywhere set up by Uncle Sam that the slavery there is worse than communism. I would rather live under communism than live in America. But I can live in America if I'm a multimillionaire or billionaire and I have my own money. Then you can enjoy America. But if you are just ordinary citizen, but you are just slave. But if you, some people even work 2 jobs. I don't know many people work 2 jobs, but some people might. They do. Okay, he knows because he's American. So, but this is unbelievable. Can you imagine that in America, you go to school, university is the only country also in the Western world that you have to go to university and pay your way by yourself. Do you know that many other countries, the government has to pay for your education if you are a citizen? If you want to go to university level, if you want to go, if it's just your choice. But over there, even 30 years after you've graduated, some people are still paying for their, what do you call it, loan?
Grants or loan.
Grants or loan. 30 years after graduation. Do you know in Europe here, that doesn't exist? Even if you are a poor country like this. Unless you want to go to special schools, then you have to pay. But you just want to go to anywhere. So, you know, it's the Uncle Sam that I saw. I have a book that I'm going to write. What I saw, the similarities I saw between communism and American capitalism. I have a book that I've prepared the manuscript, but I've not released it to the world yet. But this one is just to open people's eyes. That work is not meant for people to even get introduced to it. But then I thought it was just going to be so. This is what inspired me to write this book. America, what I saw in America. I wanted at least the people of God to set themselves free. Then I discovered that it's the same in Western Europe. You know, in the capitalist countries, because they need to work and make bills. Bills is killing them in England, in New Zealand, Australia. Bills, surviving, just making a living. And people are living their whole lives just trying to make ends meet. Can you believe that? Not even talking about saying, no, I want to serve my Lord. If many people cannot afford to say, I don't want to work, I want to serve God. I want to fulfill the will of God for my life. I want to carry out, just like you. I'm going out, I'm moving. It's a big risk because then you still have to pay for your insurance, then you still have to pay for your car, then you still have to pay for your home, then you still have to pay for water, for electricity, for this. So people are forced to come back to get a job. Unless you are going to uproot yourself. You don't have anything in that country anymore. So, or you have to have a great faith to be able to just go and fulfill the reason why God created you here. But you cannot even afford to do that, even though God created you. God is bigger than everybody else. But the things you have to attend to, they make you to put God like somewhere because you needed to just pay bills and make a living. And if you don't and say, I just want to go ahead anyway, it will just destroy your life. They have credit history. It will destroy your credit history. It will you will not be allowed to do anything, it's just bad. So in this book, I've written how you could because then you still have what they call credit cards. You know, some people actually live on credit cards in Western world. And that is another slavery right there. Because once you begin to use it, then you don't pay. And you can't make, you've got to work to pay. Because if they come to the they're looking for you, they put you in jail. It's easy to...
And nations do this.
Even nations do that. It's easy to spend it. Then you have to work for it for the rest of your life. Even ordinary car. People buy it in credit. So it means you've got to keep on making money to just keep the car. So it's not that you bought it, because car is supposed to be for convenience. So that it will relieve you of your burden and relieve you of your life. But people who use their life, their future life, to buy a car. So now it's you living every day of your life to service every month the car that is supposed to relieve you of your life, to bring you relief. It's just like me that I have 5 cars there. It's just like me with my 5 cars that I have to be paying for them every month. So it's not me living, it's not the car relieving me, it's not helping me. It's me living to service it. You understand? Because they are working, you are waking up in the morning to go and make money, to go and pay to service the car. The way I could describe this better is if you wake up, it's like buying a car that doesn't use fuel. It uses push. So you have a car that is supposed to help you, and then you pushing it every day. So it's not the car pushing you, it's you pushing it. That's the way it is, but in the financial sense.
The car is driving you.
The car is driving you. And people live in homes and they don't pay for it. It's just like my house now. It's just like saying I didn't pay for it. So I have to wake up in the morning and be going to think of where to make money so that I'll be paying for it every month. That's crazy. Then why do I have it? But the system has been set up in such a way that people have come to accept it. Almost you cannot even live any other way without it. So that is Uncle Sam. So if God now comes to me and say, I want you to serve me, go to Bulgaria or go to another, you can't. I say, I can't. Why you can't? Well, because my home, my car, my health bills, my this. So God is like out.
$600 million of the tax money that comes into America in 2015 went just to pay interest on the loan. $615 billion.
No.
$615 billion.
Are you serious? Just interest. People are working for interest. That's what it means. People are actually working for interest. That's a system right there. People don't even know. These statistics, most Americans don't even know about it. That's what they are giving their lives for, just for interest. We're not talking about their own lives yet. It's just interest. So I wrote this book. It's going to be revolutionary. This book is going to cause a lot of commotion, but it's going to cause a lot of freedom for people, because people will not believe what I'm writing here. Concrete steps to get out of the credit card slavery, to get out of the mortgage slavery, to get out of the salary, because salary is another Uncle Sam thing. People think salary is a blessing. No. It is one of the greatest key that Uncle Sam uses to enslave you. Wow. Yeah, salary is one of the greatest evil that you ever come across. Because once you begin to think of salary, you have a string on your leg or in your neck.
I don't want to use my Visa card to buy these books now, but I have to.
Yeah, because you don't have. Yeah, but you have to build a system before you get out of it.
Excuse me, I have to make a correction. $222 billion is used for interest.
Wow.
Each year. But the total amount of the economy that is just going for interest is $615 billion. Because people are living off of credit, and so is the federal government.
Amazing. So let me tell you what somebody wrote about this book. This person said, I just finished reading this book Stop Working for Uncle Sam, I read it at a sitting. And I've started rereading it again. I'm going to keep on reading it all over again, over and over again, until he gets it. Dr. Sandey Adelaja never ceases to amaze me with his unending depth of revelations and insights on the subject of how the world system is set up, on the subject of money and finances and the world. When I read his book, Money Won't Make You Rich, I thought, now I got it. But reading through Stop Working for Uncle Sam made me feel like I have never read any book in my life. In my entire life. So here is my summary from this book. This is what this guy is writing. In this book, Dr. Sandey brings about a paradigm shift. He engenders a 360-degree change in our mindset by enlightening us on the fact that our aspirations to go to school is Uncle Sam. We don't even know about it. Because the only reason you should be going to school should be to enhance the purpose for which you've been created. You're supposed to, first of all, know the purpose for which you have been created before you go to higher. Talking of higher institution now. Before you go to higher institution, so that you are now going to get admitted into that particular sphere, faculty, that makes you, that packages you to deliver whatever heaven had commanded you, had sent you here to do. So you don't just go, but for most people, their motivation to go to school is to find job, or to get employed, or to be able to get salary. So their motivation is Uncle Sam. They don't even know, they are not even aware of it. So Uncle Sam controls their life from very little. And then they would not be able to get out of the hook for the rest of their lives. So, because we go to school to get a white-collar job, and then we work hard till we retire in our 60s. Uncle Sam again. Because when you are dreaming of getting a job, Uncle Sam is laughing on with paycheck. Because you never get paid more than 1 to 10% of whatever you made for the company. So when you get paid $1,000, it means you've made $10,000, or $20,000, or $100,000 for the company. So, at the peak of our lives, when we have gotten all the experience, at 60, you are retired. That's when you're supposed to have gotten the experience and the skills, but you are sent to die. Uncle Sam doesn't need you. They need the energetic youth now to take your place. That alone should be enough to let the whole world know something is wrong here. But nobody questions it, but that's just the way things run. You just admit it. You just say, well, that's just like, well, that's the system. Well, nobody questions and challenges things the way. Status quo. That's what this guy is getting from the book. Because this challenges the status quo. So he says, Pastor Sandey brings on an entirely different perspective from what I've ever heard before. It's totally different from anything I've ever known or been taught in my life. You people will be shocked by this book. That's why I couldn't drop it at a sitting. Because he wants to know more, like drinking more. Then it starts all over again. The sole aim of work, I discover in this book, is actually not to earn good salary. And this man had been trying to work to get good salary. He is discovering that actually that's not the purpose of work. So from his letter now, I'm getting to know that most people in the world actually go to work. They think the purpose of work or job is salary. So he's just discovering here that that is not the purpose of work. Do you think most people don't know that work is not for salary? They don't? People don't know. So they think work, they are working, they're going to go get a job just for the money, mainly.
Yeah.
Career, but the more money, the better.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
But work really has a totally different purpose that doesn't have anything to do with salary. Salary is the last thing you think about when you think about work. It's the last in the chain, in the value chain. Use work to fulfill purpose.
I want to proofread your books before they're published.
Yeah, I need it because I had people help me.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about.
Let me do it last.
Okay, but so where did I stop?
Purpose of work. Yes.
Purpose of work is not salary. It's what? Purpose. You are supposed to work to fulfill destiny. Secondly, don't let me tell you the book. Let's keep on reading what it says. So the sole aim of work is not to earn a good salary and live a good life. Work is a tool for fulfilling God's purpose. He's writing it down for our life here on earth. Dr. Sandey, through this book, also enlightens the reader that slavery and slave trade was not really abolished. That's what I'm proving in this book. That slavery was not abolished. Only before, it used to be just black people who used to be in slavery. But now everybody else. That's what I saw when I got to America. The world system has put everybody into the bondage of slavery. And people are still proud of it. They don't even know. They are still bragging. Oh, I make $10 an hour. Oh, I make $100 an hour. Oh, I do it in slavery. Because if you are really free, you could pack your load and say, I'm going to please God. I'm going to fulfill my destiny. And don't even look back. So slavery was never really abolished, but it was repackaged and modified. Now it's called salary, bills, taxes, and loans, credit cards, and many other things, student loans, and those are slavery methods of today. The Uncle Sam system has designed the kind of life that you should live. The Uncle Sam system designs it. Sometimes it's called American Dream, but it's still a life of bondage. So, everybody is involved in this rat race. And by the time you are out of it, you are no longer useful for yourself, to yourself, and to your maker. And your maker is the one who sent you here to fulfill his purpose. And then you are no more useful for it because all the juice from you has been removed by the system. So your maker is left like you came back to him and say, well, I'm sorry, I got there, I got confused. I got busy. You incost.
Okay, it's fine.
So, Uncle Sam tells you that you need to go to school just to get good job. You take a loan to go to school, then you get a job, and you are there or changing jobs all your lives. You are getting excited about good salary, But really, you are getting deeper into the Uncle Sam slavery system. You earn money, and that money you have to use it to pay for your bills, to pay for your insurance, to pay for your rent, to pay for your car, to pay for your house, to pay for your loan. And then you pay government taxes. Through the media and adverts, you are pressurized to get the latest phones, cars, electronics. These are the things written in this book. He's just giving a summary, and jewelries. Then afterwards, you get a mortgage in order to get your dream home. The summary of it all is that you are stuck. You have to keep working at a job, sometimes that you do not love, in order to finance all these loans and expenses. You keep working till you retire, and by the time you do, your creative energy is gone. Because me, right now, I cannot believe I'm 50 already. I thought I just started living yesterday. Time goes so fast, and you've got to do what you need to do on time. And many people have not even done half of what I've done, because I never worked for anybody. But still, I feel time is going too fast. Can you then imagine those people who just work for secular, they have never even started their own calling? I have stepped into my calling since 19. Despite that, I feel it's too small, too short a time. Even though I've been busy doing God's will. What about those who have never even stepped out to do God's will yet? Uncle Sam just occupies everything, takes everything from them. And then when you are old, you are just too weak. So you are spent force and no longer useful to fulfill your inner dreams and desire after retirement. Interestingly, however, Dr. Sandey does not just paint a gory picture of the problem, but he also places in the hands of the reader a surefire and practical plan to getting out of the bondage of Uncle Sam. He gives the reader practical examples of individuals who retired at an early age so that they will pursue their life goals and purpose, and explains the process of how everybody could actually actualize this. This is what this book is about. In conclusion, Dr. Sandey drew a great balance by stating that the emphasis of the book is not that you should not work for Uncle Sam, but to stop working for Uncle Sam. Because sometimes you really need to get experience, to start out, to get your skills, or to get the initial money that you now use to put yourself on a free something. So as a matter of fact, there is a lot of good in working for Uncle Sam, but just enough for you to be able to set yourself free and pursue your purpose. So because you get trained by working for Uncle Sam for some time, you get skills, you get experience and capital, and you build your capacity before setting out to do what you need to do. You get the balance. So this guy says, I'm delighted that Pastor Sandey wrote and released this book because based on the insight and concept I have gleaned from this book, I will be retiring from Uncle Sam's system in the next 3 years. So he set a target for himself. I have gotten the plan from this book of how I can do it in the next 3 years. And I'm starting right now. Watch me do it. Martins. That's it. Is it a good review?
Yeah.
Very good.
So what are people saying, or what would you like to say?
Should I read people first?
Yep.
We are really stuck with Uncle Sam. I must resign with organized wisdom to proceed to my promised land. Curtis, Yes, that was Chinwe. Curtis says the big pharma, I think the pharmaceutical companies, could make 100 trillion peddling drugs. The bandage of Uncle Sam. Now they went to.
Can you start again? It's not clear. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm going to start again, guys. So, somebody said excellent review from the reviewer.
We'll talk about that later.
Olukayode said that. Davida said great review. Paul, wow. Olukayode again, amazing. Chinwe said, we're really stuck with Uncle Sam. I must resign with organized wisdom to proceed to my promised land. Curtis said, I'll read Curtis from the top. Now they want to make hundreds of billions of white people due to greed and then being so plentiful. What a shame. And then continued with, and Big Pharma could make 100 trillion peddling drugs. I think this is about pharmaceutical companies. The bandage of Uncle Sam. I've got everybody is rushing towards the Western world. Precisely, someone says. Deborah said chai. We never knew the work is not for salary until we met you. That's Tega that said that. Work is to understand business and create value. That's Curtis. Curtis also says purpose of work is to learn. Chinwe said the truth of our ignorance has been stripped by DSA. It is up to us to reflect and take appropriate actions. Most people retire poor on Social Security and then left vulnerable for the rest of their lives. That's true. Blessings, PSA, and all in the room. Millions aren't prepared for reality of socialism turned into communism. We can get the book on Amazon. Somebody asked where they can get the book from. Yes, you can get the book from Amazon. And if you're in Africa, in Nigeria particularly, you can get it on okadabooks.com. okadabooks.com. Uncle Sam is suicide mission. That's Chinwe. Okay. The people are working for the people behind the banks. That's Davida. Temitope said, true talk, ride on, Pastor. Yes, you get the car and work monthly for the car dealer. Davida said, same way, Moses had to deliver the children of Israel from Egypt. When they left Egypt, they stepped into God's economy. Oh my God, somebody said. Gift said that. It requires faith and obedient heart. God needs to be put first. That's Davida again. Paul said, so sad. Deborah said, it's a trapped system. Unfortunately, you have to fight your way out. The system is a trap. Wow. You pay your way now in the UK. The same here. Americans are really wonderful people compared to the English. Okay, Davida. Yeah. Somebody said, my goodness. Actually, it was Deborah that said that. I like this DSA coat of many colors. Niyi said that. Davida said you can be part of a rat race and serve God freely. PSA and his colorful mug. I would like to take that mug back to
It's not just the coat. It's not just the coat they like. They love the mug too. A colorful mug. This is it.
Do you want me to?
Colorful mug, like my colorful dress.
Okay, wow. Oh, that's from Okundayo. Wow. As I traveled the world, I also saw that there were other ways to life, and life still worked. That's Davida. The system is deceptive. I noticed the difference as I stepped outside the system in the UK and thought the bottom of my world would drop out. But I stepped out and found I was walking on water. God's system. That's the Vida. Okay, the percentage you needed from the American economy is 0.3%. I think we confirmed that. Thank you, Olukayode. Somebody said, gifts, blessings, said happy anniversary. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Can you please share this so that other people can join us? I'm just going to go around with everyone. Anyone that's got something to say about this review now can share it with us, so the people in house can share their thoughts on the review on Stop Working for Uncle Sam.
Did you read the visa comment?
Yes, there's a visa comment. I was looking for it.
Yeah, it's at the bottom. You have to go down.
Are you sure? I
yeah.
didn't see it.
Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Can you see it on your phone,
Yeah.
and I can read it from yours?
Yeah.
There's a visa comment. Okay.
What do you mean
I've got
visa
one.
comment?
Yes. Olukayode said, Voluntary International Slavery Agency. That's visa. In
Voluntary.
Voluntary International Slavery Agency, bracket visa, is still keeping me here when I should be there hugging my mentor, PSA. So visa,
You were supposed to be here,
visa
right?
is his Uncle Sam right now. Okay, thank you guys. So can you please share, guys? And I'm going to go around to see if anyone have anything to say
Start with
about
the person
this.
near you.
Well, I had no idea even of this system. I didn't even know it existed because we're so used to it. It's how we grow up. It's what we
Used to?
Yeah, that's all you know. And until this book came out, or it's that was when, wow, we are selling our whole lives out just to this system when we could be working and bringing out the treasures that God has put in us.
Yeah.
Look at the books that are created because Pastor Sandey does his work.
Yep.
And all of us have got that in us, but it's just drawing them out. And if we're selling ourselves out to the slavery and bondage, we can't produce any products in the purpose what we've been called to do here on earth. So it's powerful, and the whole world is caught in this deception. So, yes.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Okay. We've got Charles.
Share back as always before.
Thank you. We've got Charles here.
Hi. I would just like to say it's working for Uncle Sam is a real eye-opener. I personally lived in London for more than 10 years, and I see the way of life there. And then it was very expensive compared to now. Now I don't even want to think about it, how life is there. But people were constantly working. You know, people take out mortgages for 20, 30 years just to buy a house. And if they couldn't even, if they, for instance, lost their job, the bailiffs will come knocking on the door to sell their property. And that's just one instance. If you went to university, you had to take out a loan. And after taking out a loan, after you had a job, then you had to repay the loan back. And I think this is one reason why so many people in London are so depressed. People
But in London, don't you have free education for citizens?
No, you still have to take out a loan.
You still get the loan?
Yes.
It's not as high, but like in America.
It's not as high as America, but you still have to take out a loan. And the point I'm
And
trying
then when you get a job, you don't take all the money doesn't come to you. It goes to loan people.
it goes back there. and sometimes it takes years to pay it back. It takes years to pay it back. And
I have a personal story on that. I took a loan for university. I finished university in 2003, and I'm still paying that loan. And I've worked all
That's like
throughout.
10 years?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
it's
It's more than 10 years.
14 years.
Yes.
After university.
Yes, that was
You're still paying.
Yes, that was the year they started loans. It used to be grants, but they stopped it. So I was unfortunate, and I'm still paying it, and I pay
Now
a
you're
lot.
talking about I was unfortunate. You are talking about yourself. What about the millions who are still paying it?
Yeah, and now
It's not
actually
just about
worse.
you.
It's worse now
It's
because
about the system.
yeah, it's a lot worse now because the increase of the student loan, the school fees or tuition is 3 times higher than what I paid. So the
No.
ones, yes, it's 3 times higher than what I paid. So I'm still paying it, and I pay a lot every month. And even when I asked them that, how come I've been paying all these years, they said, oh, the interest is calculated at the end of the year, so they just make you pay.
So
them.
what about if you don't have a job?
Well, if you do, there's some people that I don't know.
Pretty much get kicked out. Yeah.
No. I'm
After.
talking not of your house. I'm talking of the student loan. It's not finished. If you don't have a job.
If you don't have a job, then they don't take the loan. Okay?
No. What do you mean they don't take the loan?
Until you have a job.
Until you have a job.
So it remains?
They defer it.
They defer
They
it.
defer
They
it.
defer it, yes.
But when you say they don't take it, I said they defer it.
They defer it until
So it remains on your head?
burden, that's right.
You have to earn a certain amount.
That's right.
Before they can take
And take a certain percentage out.
But so if you don't earn that amount, it still remains?
It still remains, yeah.
20% of Scandinavians go into retirement with still student debt
No. When they are 60?
when they're 65 or 67, and then it's released, and they feel the government has done them a favor.
Yes.
They think government, you notice that. They think it's government that has done them a favor. But they are giving their whole lives for the system. The government doesn't need that money anymore, really.
Yes, you have worked already.
You worked already.
Yeah, I think when I wrote.
No, I don't think it finished, though.
But that's pretty much what I wanted to say anyway, and that's one of the reasons why I left London. I
You
left.
set yourself free.
I thought I set myself free, but I didn't. I thought, okay, I had to leave London because I'm tired of this bored life, constantly working. And I joined the Navy. That's one of the reasons I joined the Navy, and I went to Plymouth. But from understanding from this
But
book now,
if you are in the Navy or in the military, you don't pay, do you?
you still pay. When I was in the Navy, I still paid student loan.
You did.
Yes, I did. But the good thing about working in the Navy, in the Army, is that you get a lot of discounts and a lot of privileges, benefits working for the government.
They're doing you a favor.
They still. So, but at the end of the day, in a way, you're still working for Uncle Sam. So, but this book is a real eye opener for me personally, and I think the only thing that gives you real satisfaction and fulfillment in life is when you do what God has called you to do, and that's what Jesus Christ meant when he said, "I have come to do the works of the Father, not my works, but the works of the Father," and I think that's important. So, thank you.
No, ask who is next. Who wants to? But you are younger. You've not suffered from people. We're talking of people who are 65 still paying student loan.
You know,
You are younger.
the
You've
interesting,
not suffered.
the interesting thing is that, you know, what Pastor was saying about finding your passion and your purpose in life is so very important, because where passion does not overtake you, fear will. And so, where passion doesn't overtake you, fear will. So, even if you are thinking of leaving the system, Uncle Sam's system, and just throwing your hands in the air, fear will overtake you if you don't know what you want to do. And so, for me, you know, life, losing your house, losing everything, you know.
No, mention them. Losing your
house, losing your car, losing your respect from society. Really, that's really what it is. The house and the stuff doesn't matter. It's about what people are going to say about you. Now, for me personally, my problem, I was saved a lot from a lot of these problems because I knew what I wanted to do at like age 11. But my problem came with that nobody understood what I understood. And when you're 11 or when you're 15 or you're 18, you don't have the vocabulary to convince people. So guess what? They convince you. And I think that the importance of this book for someone like me who has a passion is that it will give you the vocabulary to help people to understand how important it is for you to go after what you have been called to do in life. And so, you know, for me, like, I think that was probably the thing that has held me back. Like, for me, I probably should have been on some movie right now, but I didn't have the vocabulary to say I need to go 150% on my passions and not worry about getting a degree or getting a job or I didn't have the vocabulary. So I just did half this, half that. And if you do half, you don't get anywhere. So if anything, if you're a person who says, oh, well, I know all this about the Uncle Sam's, but you don't have the vocabulary to transmute that or to translate that to people around you who should be supporting you in it, you know, this will give you the vocabulary. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Okay, I think the lady from the US made a very good point. What I'm thinking about now, the practical aspects of these lessons that we are learning from Pastor Sandey directly from him. And I think we who know first, because I think we are a very small group, and out there is a huge crowd waiting for people to give them some advice. So I think we should have, I mean, depending on what we are having for vocabulary, I think we should really tell the people in our cities. We should organize seminars and conferences, not just to have the book sold, but to have the book implemented in every family. That is my vision. We should really have some practical tools to use in our own villages and towns. Recruit people from any age, as far as it is not unlawful, and start telling them about this problem. I don't want to see my son...
To open the eyes of even young people when they're still young?
I don't want to see my daughter really saying that, why did you not read this book for me and tell me when I was 10? So I want them to know already. She mentioned 11. One of my daughters is 11. And I don't think she's really having no idea. She has an idea about what she wants to do. We don't probably communicate at the same level, so we don't understand each other. But I want this to stop, you know. I don't want this to stop. It does not matter which country you live in. Uncle Sam is everywhere. It does not matter which job we do. We have better jobs, but we still are.
If you are from Finland, you're talking about Uncle Sam also?
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah. She made me not sleep a whole night, almost. When she read about this book, she says now, no sleeping.
Why should you be talking or complaining of Uncle Sam when you are in Finland, when your wife could get maternity leave for 3 years, the highest in the world, paid leave?
Yes.
They cannot even dream of that.
Oh, of course.
I'm saying, you know, you are right, but so this, if you could complain, it means then this book is needed in every country then.
Yes. Well, I'm going to do that in Finland. And let me tell you the story. I have a couple of friends, good friends. For example, they had big money from Nokia. They bought expensive boats. They bought expensive houses. They were well off. But everything was on credit. So now when this company passed away, I visited one city and a friend of mine invited me for dinner in a very good restaurant. And I was saying that, by the way, if you have money and you have an idea, you can buy a house which was worth 600,000. You can get it for 400, and if you even ask, they can give you 300,000. And those families, some of them, they had to divorce because people don't understand each other. The money is not enough. Others flew the country. They went to other places to look for new jobs and gain Uncle Sam. And those staying at home, they are working too hard.
So the Uncle Sam system actually deceived them, thinking that they were well off.
Yes, I mean, I have...
So when they lost the job, they became bankrupt. And they have to sell everything.
Or to divorce. and still got into major problems. A friend of mine is a nurse, and my wife is having.
So doesn't Finland provide job for all the citizens?
Oh no, no. They give you food if you don't have money. They give you money for the food to go and buy.
If you qualify.
If
you have to qualify.
I mean, basically everybody can get that money. Everybody who is behaving correctly, paying the
that's
bills,
what it means by if you qualify.
Yes, it's a backup system, which is very good. but you are still under Uncle Sam. Even the student loan, you really have to pay them. So it's everywhere.
Even in Finland?
That is the tragedy. That is the tragedy. Now I told you that when I came here, I thought I was fine. And I met you and I knew I was bad.
Why do you think you were fine though?
Because I was at the standard of a society, I was outstanding. Even the TV stations will say, oh, the case of Jean is probably one of the few we have in this country. I thought I was fine. That's why the Holy Spirit said, go and see Pastor Sandey.
So, but that's what she was saying, that is also the pressure from the society.
Yeah.
If the society...
Yes. So we have to go back and tell our friends that you guys, you should wake up. You should do this and this. Think differently. And probably will be a solution for the country. Because I believe if all those people I know, let's say if 100 of them decide to really think twice about what we are doing in taken for granted ways, what we are doing normally. Every day we are competing about somebody has bought summer cottage, somebody is going to buy a boat, somebody is buying a new car. Have you tasted the Hyundai or the Volvo new model? This is what we talk about. I'm telling you, this is what we talk about. Hey, did you see the Jeep which just came from wherever? You have to test drive it. And when you test drive it, you feel like you should have it. Yeah. Yes, you go into the Alakiri system.
But why did you say you thought you were doing good, and then after you came, you thought I was doing bad? What did you understand must change, and what began to change in your life?
Well, the changing question was, I have a call myself, and we have together. That is to preach the good news and bring nations to Jesus. That is my call. I know about it for a long time ago. And now I still work for Uncle Sam, but not just to work for Uncle Sam, because when I came here, I listened to your testimony about when you stopped the work and you gave back the Mercedes, you started the congregation. I listened to you and said, if that man was not foolish, and he obeyed the order of the Father, and the Father has now promoted him to the level where everybody knows about him. What about other people with the similar calls? Or, I mean, not necessarily to become pastor. Maybe you are born to become a lawyer.
Yes.
But you cannot become a lawyer because you ended up reading social sciences and you are probably a social worker. Yeah. Or you are born to be I don't know, maybe a footballer like my son. He says, I want to play football. Yeah. And everybody at home says, you can't stand, you cannot play football. You should go to a medical school. But he says, I want to play football. Yeah. Now I understand from your example. Yeah. The boy wants to play football. It's everybody says, this is a boy for the football. Yeah. And then I stop him. I'm going to repent.
Why did you stop him?
Because I thought he should be a medical doctor, you know. Seriously. I said, no, you are going to go to medical school. Are you sure? Yes, I told him. And the boy was frustrated. No. So we are going to change. Thank you. And I'm going to change for everybody.
Amen.
I will not keep this book at home.
No, it's not for me. Yeah, I have a different one.
Can I say something?
Wow.
I'm so happy that Pastor did the review, because the initial impression, of the Uncle Sam was, somebody that was working for a system and you're receiving salary. But listening to Pastor talk about it in depth like this, you understand that it's not about just working for an employer, but working for survival. So you could be, if initially you're like, oh, okay, thanks that I'm not in employment, but it's not even just about being in employment. Whatever you're doing to survive, is Uncle Sam, and that is, just an eye opener for me, because initially I just thought it was, oh, if you are in paid employment and you're not doing anything for yourself, and it's sad because following what Caroline said, I was telling her just now, I said, you just realize that a lot of us, we went to university, spend years, spend money, reading courses that we had no business doing anything with. Because they are not in line with our purpose and calling. We just wait. I'm thinking back at all of the suffering I had to go through university, and I'm like, for what? Because I'm not even using the certificate now. I'm not even using it. Just because of the pressure of the society. You're just following the system. You finish this, you do this, you go to this. Then yes, they now know that you are somebody. I'm not even using it. And I'm really so passionate, just like what you're saying. And that is the thing I'm also focusing, even with the girls in the club. Making them to understand purpose quickly. And they discover the gifts and the talents that God has given to them. And also encouraging the parents to listen so that these children, you don't waste time. Spending years in university reading a course that you have no business with just because you want to maintain, an ego. Oh, I have a doctor. Oh, I have an engineer. I have this. And do you know that these children are not passionate about what they are doing? It's really sad. And like you say, we need to re-educate. It's a total re-education, of everyone. A lot of these loans that people are paying, they are not even using the certificate anymore. You're paying students, you have spent those years in university, wasted all those time. Then you come back and they go and do social care.
That's right.
They'll go and do other things that has no bearing with what they read initially. Things have. I'm so glad for. This is a deliverance, of an entire system, and I'm so glad.
Anyone else want to share anything? Good.
So for me personally, I know my parents have tried their best, in trying to make us go to school and, have a life that they didn't have when we were in Germany. But then they just didn't know better, and they encourage you to do what the system is telling you to do because they don't know better. And so I feel like dreams are killed this way, not necessarily because you are consciously telling your children to abandon their dreams, but because you think there's no other way. And so everything that works and that is known to you, you just do it because, that's all you have. And I almost fell into that trap as well. But I think that's why I see my life really as God ordained, because everything that I did not work out until it worked out, even though it was not what I thought was right. So I did not study what I was supposed to study because people were telling me, oh, you're a businesswoman. I see a businesswoman in you, so you have to go and study business. And I tried, and it didn't work out, until I started listening also to Pastor Sandey's teachings and to follow him. I understood that it's about, what I love to do and what God has put into my heart. And so I went on to study coaching, and something that really people think, what is coaching? Do you get a degree with this? And where do you get with it? And I didn't really have the resonance that I would have had if I had studied business. But I knew that it was the right thing for me to do. And so right now I feel privileged in a way, but I feel like there's still so much for me to do and to accomplish and to understand. I didn't know that Uncle Sam, for example, was salary. And in our company, I would have said we are actually really lucky because the people pay us well, and this is another kind of slavery because you think you're paid so well, you can stay there and just continue working because you have the money. But what if that company also, maybe just decides to get rid of you, or, you just don't get as much money, or the other circumstances change and you need more money. So you're so used to depend on someone else to live and to survive, that it becomes normal. And so people, what they now talk about is not getting out of Uncle Sam, is either getting more money or maybe doing something part-time. But it would never occur to them that even the aspiration of getting a salary is Uncle Sam or enslaving them. So that was a really big revelation for me. And yeah, I will definitely read that book over and over again. I already got it, but I have to, I know a lot of people that I have to, yes. And I
give
know,
it to other people.
exactly, yeah.
Do you want to say yours first?
Oh, sure. I'm really looking forward to Pastor's synopsis that he's going to do for the golden nuggets of this book or the chapters.
No, you have to.
Maybe you could stand there, yes. And but I'm just looking. I haven't finished reading the book, so in one way I'm reserved to make comments. But I'm looking at something Pastor wrote near the end that you may need to work for Uncle Sam for 3 to 5 years to save up startup capital. But the goal is to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
The goal is to provide services or products that God in His kingdom gives you concepts for, so that you'll be free. This reminds me of Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know that we need to not just live for paying our bills and the mortgage, but to begin to find out what God wants us to do and accomplish it. And just 3 short comments. It says on every dollar bill, "In God we trust."
Right.
Every 10, 20, 50, 100. But really, if that was the case, people would not live like this in the rat race. They would live the way Pastor Sandey is telling us to live. And really, for me...
So it's a contradiction.
Yeah. For me, I need to read the book more to understand why you're calling it working for Uncle Sam, but I understand you're exposing mammon. People working for mammon. People working in the rat race. So even when the professor was speaking about in Finland, which has the best system for women taking free when they are pregnant and for education in the world, still there's a rat race. And not everyone, sir, is provided for. I have a friend, he's the head of
Even in Finland?
In Finland, I have a friend, he's the son of the head of one of the largest denominations of Finland, but he had to not work as much as he wanted to, or he wouldn't qualify for the social benefits, and he wouldn't be able to buy food for his family. So all over the world, there's a rat race. That's one comment. The second one is, my father is very wealthy, and yet when he told me 25 years ago, he could not understand how my family, we could take 10 weeks to do a mission trip in Moscow and in Israel. I thought...
You gave your life
He
for
said,
that.
I don't see how you can afford that. And he said, I can't afford that. Now, he was a multimillionaire, but he couldn't afford it. And I thought he was just being nice to me. But what Pastor Sandey's book and the things I've gained from our relationship, learning from you, it's explained to me my father was telling the truth. During a 5-year period, he would be able to take 10 weeks free. And I was taking 10 weeks free a year to do mission trips. I retired at 21 and have been working in the kingdom full-time, only with 3 years of paid salary since then, in order to gain new capital, to be able to do what Pastor Sandey is teaching us. But, wow, this book, I'm so excited to learn more. Thank you so much, sir. Oh, one last thing. In America, when we look at this, Uncle Sam needs you. It's a call for the military. But what's happened is the system has called us and enticed us. And God is wanting to use this book, I believe, to deliver us from the system. So even the short look I had already at it, I told Pastor I need to have 10,000 copies to distribute this. This is so important for people. But first, maybe to proofread it. Thank you.
Wow.
The last thing I just wanted to share in regards to Uncle Sam is I believe it's a very dangerous system because it I'm trying to pronounce the word, institutionalize you. And the reason I say this is because like I said, I worked for the Navy for 7 years. And while I was in the Navy, I saw people that had been working in the Navy, they had given 20 years of their life. And when in the Navy, and when it was time for them to leave, They didn't want to leave.
Why?
They were scared because they were afraid.
That's the fear.
That's the fear that my dear sister was talking about. It so institutionalizes you, and when it's time to move out, you can't do it because you have this mentality of this
After 20 years.
slave mentality system. This slave mentality system.
You won't be safe.
Exactly, and I think you can also see this principle in the Bible as well, with when God brought the Israelites out. Even though He brought them out into the wilderness, they still had this mentality system, and that's why they cried out sometimes to Moses and said, "Why didn't you take us back to Egypt? It was a lot better there." And where I live in Bulgaria, they also have this system, this mentality system, that even though physically communism has fallen down, people still complain and say it was a lot better in communism then than it is now. So it produces this mentality, this slave mentality in you, and institutionalizes you. It closes you in a box. There's a little proverb or saying that says, if you tie a dog or chain a dog to a tree for 20 years, and all of a sudden you cut off that chain, that dog will still remain there. And I think that's the danger of Uncle Sam. So that's what I wanted to share.
The same as it was with the slaves, right?
The same what?
As it was with the American slaves. There were some people who had the opportunity to either, I don't know, kill their slave masters or run away, but they never did it because they were so indoctrinated, so much mental slaves that they never dared to go.
Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery, and yet they still wanted to work for.
They would just not do it. They had everything in their hands, but they would not know.
It's destructive.
Yeah.
Well, they were saying, where would we go? How would we start?
Yes, the
That's
book
what Mrs.
Stop
Sandey.
Working for Uncle Sam, when it came out, I had a lot of my American friends called me and they were like, what does he mean, stop working for Uncle Sam? You know. So from that point, I really began to understand that actually the subject itself to many people would be new. Just saying stop working for, I mean, that's like asking them to do stop drinking water. You know, how is that going to happen? And I had big smile on my face as they were talking. But what I liked the best was that they said, okay, now we're going to get that book. And I'm like, yay. So they're getting the book. But let me talk about my first encounter with Uncle Sam. Was when my friends started working. I didn't work like the same time with my friends, but they would come home crying. I used to wonder, what's the matter? They said, well, they told us they were paying us $10 an hour, and look at my check, and we calculate, and it's like, what happened to the rest of the money? I was supposed to get $100. How come I don't have $100? So we look through the check and we go, state tax, Social Security. I mean, they had all these deductions, which probably added up to about $35.
How much?
About $35 then. Now it's
Now
higher.
it's 40.
Yeah, it's about 40 something now. And it was just devastating for them. Because here they were, they had to pay their rent, they had to pay this, and $35.
That is without the rent.
Yeah. And then when you go to the store, let's say they said, I'm going to stop by the store to buy some groceries. Another tax is going to come out because they went to the store. So it was devastating for them. You know, and so from then I began to think, like Pastor Sandey's been teaching on critical thinking. So now I said to myself, I hear people excited, they're going to pay me $90,000 a year. And I'd look at them and I say, you're probably going to get 50. And they get insulted. I said, look, calculate it. Just say I'm getting 50,000. Because that 90,000 that you think you're getting is like a trick. Yeah. So you go and get credit card, you go get this, you go get that. Yeah. Because you're thinking you're actually going to get 90,000. So I used to say, people need to think I don't get it. When I was working as a nurse, for us nurses, we have the habit of doing overtime. I have some nurses that could do 3-4 overtimes a week. So I tried. I think in my first time I did 3 overtimes. That's supposed to be more money. I looked at my check. It was even less money than when I didn't even do overtime. I'm like, what is this? And they said, oh, don't worry about it. You get it back on your taxes. Well, when the taxes came, I was not getting back what I actually worked. I was just getting it back a little bit. So I said, forget it. I won't do overtime because number one, you're not making the money. And number two, you're just working hard. You know, so there were lots of things that I looked at and I was thinking, wow, what about this Uncle Sam? What is the system here? So now, as I'm learning with Pastor Sandey right now, is that actually it's the system set up that is hindering us as Christians to move forward in our purpose.
Yes.
But there's a little added thing to this decision about drawing yourself out from Uncle Sam. You have to really review your lifestyle. Professor here was talking about the latest car, maybe the new perfume, and all these other things. It was what helps you become more of a slave to Uncle Sam, because there's no plan to get off the system. And I remembered when me and my husband, about 12, 11 years ago, we caught this thing about Uncle Sam. I'll never forget, my husband said to me,
he even said he doesn't use credit card.
No, we don't use credit card. We don't make payments for car. We're either going to get the car or we're not going to get the car. So about 11 years ago when he told me,
many
he
people
said,
say in America that is almost impossible to do.
And it's true.
You can't rent a car without a credit card. Years ago, I could just give my passport, international ticket, and cash, but they cut that out.
Now they want you to have a credit card. Just
So they
rent.
really put you in the
They're
system.
trying to just really frustrate you. But like I said, about 11 years, it's probably a little bit more than 11 years ago, my husband said to me, what if we didn't have this big house and all these cars sitting in the garage anymore? He said, if we made some decisions for our future, and it's going to affect our status look, because it's just a status look. Because if you are a doctor, you're a doctor no matter where you live. You know, it's just a status look problem that people can't deal with. He said, what would you think? What would your friends think? You know, how would you feel? I told my husband, I said, if I have friends that cannot visit me where I live presently and accept me as a friend, then they were not my friend. If they're just my friend because everything looks great, then they're not. So we made a decision there that we were going to do the best we can to sort of draw ourselves out of Uncle Sam. But with everything that we did, we still find it challenging. And I always say, we say we're going to go to Nigeria with Pastor Sandey, especially us diaspora. Oh, we're going to go. We don't know how many things we're plugged into the system that you can just pull. Won't allow you to go.
Oh, wow.
So there has to be an absolute plan.
Do we have a plate?
And I'm really happy that this book, according to the testimony of somebody that read the book, says that this book actually helped them to make a concrete plan on how to come out of the system and actually be able to work on the purpose for their lives. So I'm very, very excited about it because we've been trying to do it. We've done a little here, a little there, but I believe that this book will finally help us bring it together, you know, to do it. And we are believing that because we will be able to do it, you were talking about going around sharing with everybody about this. For me, the best way that I can share with my friends is when we do it. If we do it, then the people are going to say, how did you do it? And now I can say, you know, we can say, this is how we do it. This is the guide that we use to be able to accomplish this goal. So that's why I'm really, really excited about the book.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share anything?
You wanted to share your own story.
Yes.
Sit down.
Yes. My story is exactly what Lola said there in terms of the taxes, because I always aim for high salary jobs, thinking that I'll get a certain amount from very early age. But by the time the taxes go, I only get 40% of the whole salary. So that is the taxes and also the student loan. So by the time I get the monthly salary, it would be 40% at best. That's what it would be. So we are so deceived and so delusional. And also, in terms of Ufoma as well said it earlier that we study a lot of things that we have no business studying, and that's me because I didn't know my purpose. So I was accepted to do law. That's what I applied for because I did media studies and then I did law in college. So I automatically was accepted for law. But on the day of enrollment, I changed from law to psychology on the day and think, oh, psychology looks nice because I don't know what I want to do. And the university just accepted me and said, okay, if you've already been accepted for law, we can change your course to psychology. There was no guidance, nothing. So I struggled. I was in psychology for 3 years. I just wanted to finish and, move on. And even when I finished, by the time I finished, I thought I can't do anything. I don't want to work in the hospital, clinical psychologist or do anything. I got a job. So there was no plan. There was nothing. I didn't have any plan, no guidance, no knowledge. And before I finished uni, the university called some employers, Uncle Sam, to come into the university and select students to work for them. So I was in university my final year. Uncle Sam was already waiting for me and offering me. Yeah. And at that time, we thought that we were the best. We were the selected ones, And it was for a job that it wasn't even something that I'm interested in. It's not even, it was a therapist in school for children with special needs, And I was so young. I know nothing about children. It's not even an area that I thought about. But because the companies came into the university and selected a few of us, I felt
Why did you go for it?
Because the money was good. You just finish university, you have a very good salary. So, and they came for you and they, if you go through this process and you do well, you get this grade, we would definitely hire you. And they did. And I stayed there. And even in the job going there, I didn't understand while I was going, what am I doing here? I was very tiny and I was having to deal with children with special needs and, go through therapy with them. And it was just a gloomy life. It was just like it was a string. Everything was just directed and I had no control. And I did that for many years. And then if I see something else I like, and then I'll just study, let me just read this quickly. I can understand. If I understand it, I apply for the job in that area. I do the interview. I know what to do. No settled mind to understand purpose and work in purpose. It was just working for money and giving your freedom, your right to Uncle Sam, volunteering your freedom and right to Uncle Sam.
Voluntarily.
Yes. And, Uncle Sam as well, I really can't emphasize enough in terms of the salary. You don't even see what your full salary is before they take it. You don't ever see it. They will take everything and then just give you the pittance that's left.
But this is just not in America. She was talking about America.
Yeah, it's the same thing in England. I grew up in England, so it's exactly the same thing. And, at some point, when I started listening to Dr. Sandey, I actually felt like, I see things in images. And every month, I felt like I'm going to my boss or the company CEO, and I'm saying, can I have my money, please? Can I have the patents? That's the vision that I was seeing, to be so unsettled, to leave. I was just seeing that vision that I just, every month, 28th of every month, I'm going and saying, can I have some more, please? And then they give it to me in my hand, even though it goes into my bank, but I see that they give it to me in my hand, then I go, and then another month I come back, it's almost it's finished. I want some more. And it's never enough, and, the job is not satisfying, you're just doing it for the money. If you want to think of retraining as well, the thing about Uncle Sam is when you come to knowledge and you want to retrain, you think, okay, can I go back to this lower salary? Or can I go back to this can I go back to a lifestyle that, live this lifestyle that I'm in to go and do something else that is actually your purpose? You're too afraid. And what Caroline was saying in terms of everybody directs you, for me, I struggle a lot in my community with my friends, family, my network, because everyone is like, you've got a good job, you're working with a good company, you've got a car, you've got this. They don't have any vision. They're just seeing what you're not satisfied with as being great. And, and even somebody said to me that I'm an ungrateful person. In the mediocre that I was in, they're saying that I'm ungrateful and mediocre. So I just felt alone, and I always understand when Caroline says, she was beyond her age, but I gave up. Luckily, Caroline is still at a really good age to pick herself up. But I gave up and I gave in to what the society was saying. I just abandoned everything. I abandoned my own faculties because I've just had enough and I didn't know how to fight them. There were too many people against me or against what life should be, against purpose. Everybody was just doing what, they were just robots working for Uncle Sam without even knowing, and they want to drag you in. So even if you're complaining, it's almost like, you know, you're just the odd one out of all this. So, and that's the reason why I always say that
even
if
your family members would say, go work?
Yes, even my pastor, I remember I said I was going to leave work. I don't want to go to the company anymore. I was a banker then. And he said, no, don't do it. And then when I left and I started a business, anytime anything is not right in the business or maybe I hold my tithe, he would say something like, I told you not to leave. So there was no encouragement. It was just like the belief was that you had a good job, you had a position, and you should just stick to it and just live a quiet life.
So again, it's about salary.
It's about salary. You know, you have a salary, you have a position, you're in the bank, it was just terrible. I was just feeling alone in my world, and people telling me that, you should be grateful when I'm not grateful. That kills me because I'm not grateful. I'm not happy. I don't like mediocrity. And I was in it, and everybody around me were just saying, you're doing really, really well. A young lady, you have this, you have that. But those things are just status, just things to stay in the status. But you're never satisfied, no purpose. And Uncle Sam has got your string, and he's the puppet master, and you just do whatever they say, you know.
So that means that even churches sometimes encourage us to remain under.
Yes, they do, because that's a guarantee that they'll get their tithes. No.
We hold special services. We hold a special miracle job. How do they call it? Miracle banquet. Banquet for you to get a job. Instead of training people and teaching them to discover purpose.
Yeah.
When you we'll hold special miracle job banquet to keep you down in Uncle Sam. And I'm so happy when Pastor started talking with Uncle Sam, about Uncle Sam, because I think I shared it with you, because I was looking like, oh, my children will soon go into full-time school. Even though I was doing little business by the side, but I was saying maybe when they are settled in school, I'll go back and get a job. But when I heard Pastor said it, and of course, God gave me an encounter just meeting him, and I discovered purpose. It changed. I'm just so excited that I'm not going to be trapped. You know, I just like, God, okay, no way, bye. Bye, I'm not sticking ever again, because of course God has already given me something to do, and I have to focus on that and pursue it, and trust him to take me through that.
So what are you saying in relation to church, religion, and...
Well, I think church personally, when you have a job, they're guaranteed an income. So it's about numbers. So even if you're earning £2,000 a month, if there are 100 people there and they guarantee 200, that's still guaranteed income. They're not really thinking about your purpose. They're thinking about, if this is guaranteed, and also this person will stay within their vicinity. So, if you have a business and you're traveling all over the world, you might not even remember to pay your tithe to that church. So they're very calculated. It's true. They're very calculated, because I never understand these things where, don't go to another church, don't even relocate. If you want to relocate, they just advise you not to do things like that, because everything is about keeping you in one area, keeping you in a place where at least you're coming with a guaranteed income. They're getting a guaranteed income. And I think a lot of people don't know that. They just think, oh, the church loves them, the pastor loves them so much that they want to keep them in the area. But when their life is fully wasted, then they will realize and think, well, it's not because he loves me, it's because he just wants to keep me around so that at least their income.
Pastors will actually be tempted to think that when you leave, your offering goes.
Of course it goes. It would go. I mean, it would definitely go, and they know that, and they
especially if you have been recognized as somebody that's really giving.
Yeah.
Let's speak about this just for another minute. I want to speak as a pastor for pastors. Okay? Many pastors would be doing these things you're speaking about. Okay? And that's conspiratorial. That's not good. But many people don't have any bad motive at all. Many people just don't, they have ignorance to the possibilities that Pastor is presenting to us here. And that's important. And actually, I believe that's the same with our nations. Very few of the politicians that govern the different nations we come from have gotten together and actively created a conspiracy to keep us enslaved to the system of mammon. It's ignorance. People need revelation to be lifted to a higher place. And that's why I think this book is so important. Because I don't know about Uncle Sam, but I know that God needs us. God needs us to be able to get his understanding for how to create wealth. And this thing, you know, I remember when I first came to the Lord, I was a very wealthy young guy in business. I owned a chain of health spas with 3 other guys. We were just about to go nationwide in America. And I told my pastor, hey, listen, God's calling me to leave my businesses. And the first thing he said was, no. You need to be faithful. You need to learn to tithe. And it wasn't that he was worried. This is true. He wasn't worried I wasn't going to give him money. He wasn't thinking of, for him, I know him. He wasn't thinking for the church's money. He was concerned for me, that I would learn to tithe, not realizing that following God in his calling, he was going to provide more money.
Wow.
Thank you.
Faithfulness to God's calling was going to sustain you.
And has. Although I learned from you to do better. So I don't just get sustained, but that there's an overabundance to be able to give.
Rochelle, what will you say about that?
Yeah, well, I've been in churches before where we've had meetings and been called to give tithes and offerings at us, it's like our duty. We have to give great amounts, and then they know you as a giver, and other times I've known people who will even go into debt just to give.
Wow.
Yeah, I know a girl. She would borrow money just to give, and that's just absolutely ludicrous. So, yes.
We all can make that mistake. I mean, we have churches in 7 republics of the former Soviet Union, and there was times where I didn't have enough money, but I've given my word, and I don't want to break my word. So I was borrowing money in order to provide for our mission support. And when the churches in Belarus found out about this, they said, please, Pastor, please don't send us $1 more if you have to borrow it. Yeah. Because of the things I had taught them and God was teaching them, they saw I was put into a conflict situation. They didn't want me in that. Yeah. And they thought they didn't want to receive money that was borrowed because they didn't think it was blessed. Actually, somebody you know. It was Adelaja. Hassan. Yeah.
You want to read the comments? Yeah. I can read some comments.
Okay.
Maybe. Let me see.
Look who came! Welcome home! Welcome home!
Look at that.
Anastasia McDonald is here. This is the most popular person on the GSA family. Welcome home, welcome home.
My best person in the whole world.
Yeah.
Best mentor.
Please help me get a seat. Go eat.
Hello. Sorry.
Should I bring your food down?
No, thank you.
Not now? No, we're all eating, so bring our food.
Are you going to give a summary for the chapters?
No.
After you
read the comments.
Okay, so Jinwei is saying some pastors just don't know about the system, hence their advice to hold on to secure job.
No, they don't know the Mangusam.
Yeah. And then Julia Fortune is saying in America they usually break down what you are taking FICA, FUTA, SDI, and set
What's that?
different abbreviations. I think it's taxes. Yeah, and now there's a law effective April 1st, 2016. All employers must issue itemized pay slips to employees covered by... Oh, it doesn't show what she's... Because it's a long comment, it doesn't show everything.
Click on more.
Yeah, I did. It doesn't show. Okay. Stella is saying salary is more secured, so the pastors are more comfortable with that. Katerina is saying the deduction from salary is the same in Greece. As more you are given, as more is deducted. And then Paul Esupofo says, the contributions of everyone has taught me dynamism of life and freedom in a foreign land, and also my country in Nigeria, understanding the system even while living in Nigeria. This platform has become a great teacher.
Is that quoted where?
Wow, 30% of your expectations. That's scam. Hi, Uforma. I will celebrate you. Okay. The cry of the people of Israel in Egypt move God to send Moses for their rescue. On our generation, many have been dying silently, and many hearts are full of pains of Uncle Sam's system. Let's give blessing.
Who likes more meat? You want more meat? You and the army. Okay.
Davida is saying the system is ingrained in the mind. Give Caesar what is Caesar's.
I hope this is a little bit enough.
Oh, that's a lot.
Well, you are in for it now.
Deborah Cole says DSA has brought son to the room with that yellow shirt. That's
Yeah,
my
don't
color.
what?
He has brought son to the room. She says it's her color. She loves
Who
it.
did that?
Deborah Cole.
I brought what to the room?
The sun, yeah. Sun into the room.
Okay.
With the yellow shirt.
Sunshine.
Pastor Rory is a practical teacher, not only theory. Bless you, sir.
Good.
Julia Fortune is saying what the gentleman from Finland is describing significantly affected the bubble burst in...
That Jean-Claude.
Yes. Significantly affected the bubble burst in 2006 in America. Housing prices were so high, people were using their credit cards to buy houses they cannot afford. No wonder depression and suicide are on the high rate.
Wow. Suicide.
That's
It will
Paul
affect suicide, huh?
Esupofo.
London is terrible.
Suicide.
Yeah, suicide.
Among men.
Wow.
What is the drug?
And then Stella is
Because
saying...
the responsibility is too much.
Yeah. It's tiring.
Stella?
Stella is saying, now I understand what happened to my family members who have been out there for so long with very little to show. And then Davida is saying, it's a cruel system. Your life is not yours, a glorified slave. Paul Esupofo says, I said this similar to the youth who are just desperate to travel out without understanding the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still talking on the Uncle Sam.
Jumbo Anemikaya says the world system, a life monetary mortgage system. Noel says, I wish we also read the literary works of Niyi Osunare, Osunfunshi, Osita Ozadebe, Bishi Emeshita, and Chimamanda. Yeah, I think to add to this conversation. Olukayade says the world system will monitor you from point of birth, steal you and use you until you are old and tired, then will not even let you rest in peace. There is need for a paradigm shift in the world's administration. Frank Beja said, I'm very blessed to know these things now. Thank you so much, DSA. Your insight is too much, but I think the same system is in Africa too, because I see it in the lives of many of my relatives. Chidi says, I'm happy this is being discussed in the Christendom. People need to be aware and
Yeah.
plan their escape route.
I think the church needs to begin to talk about these things too.
Yeah. He says, even if you are a career person, ensure you have a viable investment to give you financial freedom. Oluwatoyin says, it is a system of modern slavery, but we have been taught to convert every minute even while under the system. Curtis is saying, now people are saying mostly all the white people are delusional due to racism and can't function properly in society. More billions for those greedy corporations. Okay, I think the rest we already had. Let me see if there are any new comments. I would have loved to share with viewers how to win working with Uncle Sam.
Who said that?
That's Ladi, Mr. Ladi Shronker.
Oh, okay.
And got a lot. He says, got a lot to say. Wish I was there. Chinwe says, I think that being exposed to the truth could change the way people think and act once the understanding sets in. Everyone is saying, welcome, Anastasia. Welcome, Anastasia.
Yeah,
so
everyone is happy to see Anastasia.
Oh, and someone's saying, I love this blog with Pastor Sandey. We should continue this blog till Jesus comes. Till Jesus, the vlog, yeah. There's so much to learn.
Till
from
Jesus
Pastor.
comes?
Yeah.
You have to pray that God gives Mario while here till Jesus comes.
There's so much to learn from Pastor Sandey that I feel like listening to him 24 hours a day.
Tell him to go on.
Oh yeah, you can actually. We are having a DSA TV everyday stream, so it's 24 hours.
YouTube.
Yes, on YouTube. Do you wanna?
You do it.
Okay, so there is a YouTube.
Sandey Adelajah official. You can type that on YouTube. And there you will have DSA TV, where we are streaming DSA TV 24/7. So you actually can
go and pick.
Exactly, and you also can pick all the different subjects that are posted there. You just have to go to Sandey Adelajah official, and then click on his picture, and there you will have the playlists, and this is where you can choose what topics to follow and to study closely.
His blog.
And he also has his blog, SandeyAdelajahblog.com, where he has all the articles and also links to his videos that you can have a look at and study. And he also has his Facebook page, Dr. Sandey Adelajah, that you can follow. So make sure to do that, and you will have 24/7 Pastor Sandey for yourself. Any more comments? Okay. Was there someone? Yeah, okay.
I'm very glad for the comment that was made that it is possible to make money and have success and still be in the midst of the system. But then God has given you wisdom to do that. And I know that's possible. Many years ago, I was sitting with my father, and I was thinking, because he worked with insurance, what would be a good idea to work within the system but still generate a lot of money for charity and for the United States government and protecting people's wealth? And I had a really simple idea God gave me. And I think when we get ideas, we can use the system or operate within the system and still see money generated. So I appreciate that comment. And the idea was really simple. Wealthy people, instead of hiring lawyers to avoid paying their taxes, would buy life insurance to cover their estate taxes when they died and create money on top, beyond the protecting their estate for their heirs, create extra money on top for charities. So my dad, who incorporated these ideas, he became a hero in bringing in money for the United States government with taxes and creating money for charities and protecting people's estates. So it is possible. But again, the concept Pastor sharing about getting wisdom from God and generating money rather than just being a slave to the system is probably the point here, yeah? And then I just want to address people who are called by God to live by faith for a time. And, you know I was legitimately called by God to do that. When I went into retirement, I had enough money to provide for myself the rest of my life. But God called me to give it away for a time. And as Pastor says, if you have the provision, if God is providing for you, that's great. But when that dried up, that provision from God, that was the moment when I would have needed to enter into this wisdom, to get into the system, get new capital, and then develop something so I would never be dependent again. So I just want to encourage those of you who are being called by God for time. But if your provision is dried up, don't blame God.
Before it
dries up, don't look for the miracle. Don't just blame God or get upset or beg people for money. Don't do that. Instead, realize it's presumption to continue when the provision's not there, and now begin to learn from what I'm learning.
Because he went through it. He knows what he's talking about. Because sometimes you think God has let you down, but God really wants you to use your wisdom and think ahead. And especially in America, I feel so sad for the missionaries. My children go to a school where they are missionaries, and they have to stop their missionary work every summer and even during midterm and go back home to plead for money.
Yeah, it's wrong. Not God's high.
Because they couldn't just survive otherwise, because they don't have a system. They don't have the system they were talking about to sustain them. So they get, let's say, another $5,000-$10,000 and spend it. Then when it finishes, they go again to ask them. They begin to travel. They don't even get time to rest, to go for vacation. Because they keep on traveling from one church to the other, asking for people to help them. They didn't build the systems.
You know, I read a book one time. I don't want to quote the name because I respect the author. I respect some of the concepts in that book. But the point of the book was to develop friendships with creative ideas that would help people give you money for your mission. And I just want to say that's a waste of resources. Love people, develop divine relationships like Pastor Derek was preaching on today, because it's God's will to love people. Don't do it in order to get your finances. Let that creativity go instead to developing something that's going to provide for you.
What Pastor said just now just struck me, that when you suddenly think that God has failed you, because and I think it's part of the reason why we still find a lot of people frustrated in church, and it will look like, oh, I've been giving, I've been paying my tithe, and it looks like God has not, God is not working, and they are so depressed and they get, so fed up with church, but God has given us our mind to use. We're supposed to put it to work and not wait on Him, to do miracles. We are the miracle that He has made. When He said that just now, it struck me, because a lot of people, and we are so blessed to have you at this time, Pastor, because you are just waiting for God to do things for you, when you can actually learn.
He's waiting for us.
And equip yourself, self-educate yourself to be on top, to take dominion. And you just feel a lot of people and it's like God is wicked, and it's like God is wicked, but He's not.
He's not a blame.
We have just refused to maximize our potentials.
Yeah, and I think many people had the situation that I had. Not that you're disappointed with God. I wasn't disappointed with God. But feel like frustrated because, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working? Do I need to fast and pray more? And the answer is no. We've been hearing the answer instead. He wants us to get wisdom from Him and create wealth.
Anyone else?
This book is deliverance. Yeah. It's great deliverance. God bless you, Pastor.
Yeah, what I would like to do eventually is to actually find time to proofread all these books, make all the corrections, and then push them out there to the secular world. I want to get a company. that will do the promotion and the sales, just full time. Yeah, so that it will go viral. But before I do that, I see the hunger and the pressure from people around me. So the way I wrote it, I'm just releasing it right now, just for the people who are desperate. Before I give it before I give it a push, but just for us to read right now. Then later on, because right now people have been waiting for so long. Where are all your books? But they're in Russian. They're not in English. So
And Joel is ready to help you with that too.
yeah, he's ready to help me. So, but the idea is that at least you got something. At least you get the concept. Yeah, because before there was even not, my books are not even in English for you to, or only the spiritual books. But these are not just spiritual books; these are real life issues. So I'm not going to do the chapters. I hope.
And get the book.
Yeah, it's on. Actually, you have the Kindle. You have the Kindle version, really. La prescribe ne prenez croissant notokas chocolate. You have the book on Amazon, and you have the electronic copy as well, the Kindle. You could order for the Kindle copy. You don't have to carry the physical book. But a lot of people tell me, though, that they still want the physical book, apart from the Kindle, that they still like to have this.
But that's wisdom, because you can put something in somebody's hand.
But also, you could get the physical book also on Kindle. Only it's more expensive. I mean, not on the Kindle, on Amazon. Only it's more expensive with the paper book on Amazon than the Kindle book. But you could get it. They will ship it to you from Amazon. So thank you. We'll come back to you if need be. If you want us to come back, we'll come back. What, you stopped it?
No.
Okay, before you stop it, what time is it? Let me see if we can come back.
3:06.
3:06. Maybe I wanted to share something with you in the next 15 minutes. I just got a letter, very interesting letter, from somebody who ran into my into my YouTube, just one of my YouTube by accident, and he listened first, and then he thought I would just listen for 10 minutes and see what this guy has to say. He listened for 2 hours. Then the next day, he said, okay, before I go to work at 8 o'clock. You finished?
Yes.
Okay, let me just listen before I go to work. He said he was listening all day and he refused to go to work.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So in 24 hours, this guy listened to 20 hours of my message. In 24 hours. He slept 4 hours. He couldn't sleep.
Yeah, I get that. That first comment that Innocent made, I get it. That, next to the Bible, you just don't want to stop getting the revelation about these things. Because, Yeshua, Jesus made it so clear this is such an important thing.
Do you know that guy, Innocent, that wrote that a review in this book, is an atheist?
Wow.
He doesn't believe in God.
Wow.
He's not a Christian, but he read the book.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Believe in philosophy and what.
Okay, then I understand why it's there. Okay. Okay. This book stands to be the most influential book after the Bible, he writes. That's what he's writing.
And that's what he wrote.
Okay, so are we going to come back?
Yeah, I think we're going to come back. I want to tell them about this.
So, guys, we're coming back shortly, probably in about 20 minutes to half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see you then. Please share this, and also don't forget you can always find Pastor's material content on YouTube, which is Sandey Adelajah Official. Sandey Adelajah Official. You click on his picture, and you will see a playlist right in the middle of his channel. And that way you can listen to all his content. There are almost 2,000 materials on YouTube. And also, there is the blog, which is his website, and that is www.sundayadelajablog.com. So check that out also. Thank you for the loves and the like. I can see Elizabeth Ali. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ola Martins. Daniel, thank you very much. So guys, I'll see you shortly. We will all see you shortly for the next chapter. Take care. Bye.